thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. First off, I just want to say I love being around people like you. People like you are always working, always doing something, whether it's like filming, editing, managing, doing meetings. It's like infectious. Like I get energy from when I see you around me. So that's just the first thing I want to say. But speaking of work, like what do you have going on today, and how busy is your week coming up?
Yeah, so today we have volleyball at 6, so coming up here in a little bit of time recording. So we'll do volleyball from 6 to 7:38, depending on how many sets we get through. And then after that, we might edit a little reel or something, but we probably will just save it for the next week. Coming up, we have basketball season starting, so things are starting to get busy, whether that's creating walkouts, shooting hype videos for them very soon, and getting things on the schedule for that. So these next couple of weeks, I think there's probably 1 week in October where we will have a little bit of a break, where it's mostly the fall sports are away. Basketball hasn't really started yet, but crossover season really starts once Black and Gold game is here. So next weekend, I think that is, or maybe 2 weekends away. So once it's crossover season, it's going to be quite busy.
Is anything other than VCU athletics like taking up your time right now?
Not really. I have one freelance project that I'm working on, and that one's just editing at the moment. We did all the filming in the summer, so they know my time constraints, so I'm just slowly plucking away at like over their 40 videos that they have, as much as like managing my personal stuff too and putting things on my personal page takes up my time as well. So,
If Joe, you don't have anything, I'll move on to the next.
Yeah, not really, man.
Okay, so I want to take it back to your childhood. How did you start first getting into like video editing, and what did you first edit on, and what type of videos were you making?
yeah, so the first thing I did was I got a GoPro. That was in high school. So I guess if you really go back like childhood, then the Nintendo DSi was like my first camera, and I was taking pictures of like our beach house and was like, this is fun, and playing the little games that you take photos with on that. But that really wasn't like a passion or anything. But once it came to high school, I did a trip down to the Virgin Islands, like my senior year, I think, and it was still figuring out like what I want to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go to school or not. So had a GoPro, went snorkeling with it, like just kind of filmed an adventure video, and I was like, this is really fun. Like I really enjoyed doing this, and stayed up till like 3 a.m. editing on my iPad at the time, just using iMovie, editing a little video together. My dad thought it was cool, like Facebook friends thought it was really cool, and for us it was just, oh, this is really cool to like just relive this adventure.
Yeah.
But it definitely sparked something in me that I was like, okay, like I could maybe do this. Like this is actually really fun, and like I could get paid to do this too. So I went to community college. Still wasn't exactly sure like what route I wanted to go, but through college and community college, editing more videos and getting more into like doing random adventures and taking the GoPro around, really sparked my interest for videography and video editing. And then from there, went to JMU to study media arts and design, and then ended up here along the way.
So if you could go back in time and tell yourself something when you first picked up that DS or first picked up that GoPro, what would you tell yourself?
I would say maybe the GoPro. DS probably didn't have too much of an influence. Maybe just like of my love for photography. But for the GoPro, I would have said, I wished you were born younger or born older, because we were just born in a age gap where I was too young to be popular on Vine, too young to be popular on YouTube and like know the ins and outs, and then too old then to like, you know, kind of be really plugged into TikTok when that came around later. So I would have just said like, hey, maybe dive full force into this, and I wish I would have known all the basics that I could tell my younger self, but like, yeah, maybe just tell my younger self with a GoPro, like, hey, like, this is what you're going to do. So just master it quickly and take your time, be patient with it, but have fun.
Master yourself and have fun is very important. Would you tell yourself to get into like any specific field? Like you do sports now. Is that what you would have wanted to do back then?
If I go back through college, like I think I always have wanted to do sports, so I would have loved to have done sports, and gotten into sports at JMU when I was there, and that's probably like the only thing I would have really done different about like my college career, was just maybe spend more time volunteering with athletics and like getting into that field. But things worked out the way they did, so I'm happy to be where I am today.
I actually told you that skit videos at one point.
Yeah. I mean, I've done skits like just for when I was a kid, like in high school and stuff like that, but haven't really done any skits recently other than the stuff that we do for VCU comes from my brain. If they're good, if they're bad, they're not my idea. But
So in high school, what type of stuff were you filming?
high school, really, a lot of the times it was just those adventures we talked about, so
Like
going on
vlog
trips.
type of stuff?
Yeah, like vlog stuff, really,
Okay.
yeah. It was really like community college stuff. Like I took a trip to California and did like a video GoPro California, and just like it was really just a montage of me with a selfie stick and a GoPro. So it was more just like that vlog type of style, going to different Young Life camps and filming like our trip through there, where that's wearing like the GoPro strap on a ropes course or on the helmets and stuff like that, and vlogging that experience or bringing it to club and stuff like that. So yeah, that's more of the type of material I was doing, like really just vlog style with the GoPro.
So you mentioned like high school and taking trips and stuff. I did some deep diving, and I want to ask you, what was it like visiting New York with Miss Mason, and what type of
No
videos?
way, that's crazy.
What type of videos did you do there?
Miss Mason always joked because she was like, "What happens in New York stays in New York," and that was just always so funny to us. But yeah, going to New York with Miss Mason was awesome. In high school, those trips were always super fun, and the sports marketing class, being president of FBLA, which I really did nothing for. Miss Mason was just a really great teacher and a good friend that just needed somebody to be like a figurehead, and that I was able to step up and be that guy, which is really cool. But yeah, the New York trips, we went on a couple of them with her class and with some other classes, just super fun. Like 24 hours, like falling asleep watching the plays, unfortunately, because we were just so tired from walking around.
Yeah.
But the whole premise of the class was, this is sport marketing, and you need to look at everything in the world is being marketed at you right now. So when you go to New York, it's just super obvious. There's
Like
signs,
screens
everywhere that are saying like McDonald's, Buffalo Wild Wings, come try this product, come try this new movie coming out soon. So for us, one of our assignments was really just write down like everything that you see, and like all these different examples of marketing, all these different examples of sports marketing, and go to Nike Town and see like how they do all this stuff. So yeah, really cool experience. And just in general, sport marketing was one of my first thoughts of what I wanted to go into. So to tie videography into that, now what I do, being sport marketing in a sense, is really cool.
So you also mentioned community college, German community college, is that right? Germana Community College. Did you want to go to community college, or was it something that you were kind of forced to? Because I personally went to community college. It wasn't my first pick. There were colleges I wanted to go to before, but me personally, I loved going to community college. There's a lot of lessons that I learned. Would you say the same thing?
I would say, yeah, definitely learned a lot of lessons from community college. My experience sounds semi-similar to yours. My father had a bit of a rough patch where we lost a bit of our funds leaving high school. So I knew leaving senior year that like I wasn't going to be able to afford to go to a college, and I was going to be a first-generation college student for my family, and they just didn't know how to apply for colleges, how to apply for financial aid or things like that. So yeah, it was kind of just community college or bust, which it made sense. I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, so I'm grateful I went that path, because then I was able to exit community college debt-free and then college debt-free because of that. So fiscally, really fun and a great decision. Community college, learned a lot. The classes were easy, so that was definitely beneficial. I think just that community aspect is something I definitely wish I would have had in college, because community college, even though community is in the name, it's just it's a commuter school. Everybody's so far away, so it's hard to connect with people that are just such different age ranges. But we came out with a few friends, so that's good.
So we both went to community college. You went to JMU. I went to VCU. I know he has a good question on JMU.
Oh yeah. I'd like to know, what about your journey in media studies, in your media studies? Was it like in JMU specifically?
Yeah, so at JMU specifically, when you go into the SMAD program and when you arrive at JMU and you declare that you're going to be a SMAD major, you have to take SMAD 101 first. So SMAD 101 is just a generic media class that's going to go over the basics of all things media. You have to pass that class and then apply for the program. So you're basically applying for what was 4 concentrations at the time. And I think they have 4 now, but they keep renaming them. I don't know where they stand now. But my concentrations were between creative advertising or digital video and cinema. I opted for the video and cinema route because I figured I could still learn a little bit more in the advertising on the side if I really wanted to go into it. But I felt the cinema route was just going to open more doors into videography, and I would just kind of learn to advertise along the way. So yeah, you go that route. Once you get accepted, you're able to jump into the program and then start doing those classes along with those core and those elective classes you need at JMU. Because of the way it's structured, I had to take one more semester because the classes, you know, like 1 or 2 didn't transfer, but also you have an entire semester of you just have 1 SMAT class. The rest of the time you could stack 3 or 4 or 5, but the amount of classes you had to take, it just ended up that you had to take an extra semester. But the things you learn in the program, I think the students that were in my class, we taught ourselves a lot through YouTube, and we taught ourselves a lot just through the experience. But the projects that they had us do allowed us to ask those questions and do that research on our own. And then there were some classes, just like any school you go to, that you learn a lot. Like sound design, I love that class. I learned a lot from my professor, how to splice up sound and things like that, how to make people say what I want them to say in a video. And then there were some classes that were just solely film related, that was like just kind of writing essays where this is cool, I can kind of be inspired by this, but this one's not really as needed in my opinion. But overall, program's great, JMU's great, and definitely learned a lot just from camera basics and all of the core classes there.
I'd also like to close the gap a bit. So, where in community college did you end up thinking, okay, I'm at the very least going to be doing a mass communications?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I feel like probably early on in community college, like my freshman year, my first year there, that's probably when I did a little bit more of those trips, and then I stayed up those late nights editing, where I was like, okay, this is something I think I want to do. So it kind of clicked for me, like, okay, well, I want to do something media related. My sophomore year, I started volunteering and doing Young Life at Mary Washington and trying to be really plugged into that community. So went on some trips with them, was getting to know the people there and talking with them about, hey, like the mass communication program here at Mary Wash, maybe that's for me. And even one of the guys there was like, I wish I went to JMU, and like we did their mass communication program. So I applied for both Mary Wash and JMU. Those were the only 2 schools I really wanted to go to, and fiscally speaking, probably could afford. And JMU, I got accepted to both, which was awesome, and chose JMU, and no regrets from there. JMU was amazing.
So you got your first degree from JMU. You also got a degree from VCU, correct?
Yeah, just finished in the spring, getting a master's in sport leadership.
That's awesome.
Was
And
that on the school or on you?
On the school. Yeah, so super big blessing. When you work at VCU and work for the state, they allow you to take college courses and pursue any degree you want, pursue any classes you want, and as long as it's less than 2 a semester, VCU will pay for it, essentially. So, you know, for me, worked at VCU, so like technically not free, but also kind of free, like free master's degree, so why not?
So circling back, like reeling back into the career part, you have a lot on your schedule. There's like 15 sports that you film individually?
Yeah, pretty much. 15 or 16, I always forget.
How do you balance that, and why do you decide to take on all of this? And well, first off, can you explain how the team works? Like who's underneath you, who is working with you and all that? Yeah,
for sure. So before me is Evan Nicely. Evan Nicely is our creative director. So Evan wears a lot of hats. He has like 4 different hats. He's the SID, Sports Information Director, managing women's lacrosse, women's basketball, and field hockey. And then he's also our creative director, and then he's also part graphic designer for us because we don't have one at the moment. So he handles a lot of the graphics. And 4th hat, anything else is needed. Some things just, fall into his plate.
Right.
So he kind of leads the charge, but right underneath of him is me and then Donovan. I just have a little bit of seniority. I've been here a little bit longer, but Donovan, both of us are creative content managers. So we both handle the day-to-day of, scheduling things, what content we need. We also refer to Evan for this as well, and like, hey, what do you want from this? But we help manage our graduate assistants, and then I'm in charge of managing our interns and work study kids. So our interns are people who are volunteering. They get free swag occasionally. I wish we had more budget for that. I wish we had a budget for paid internships, but unfortunately that's not in my hands. So the interns, they either have a camera provided to them from us, or they have their own camera, which is super great. Some of them come freshman year and they're like, I have my own camera, really expensive, really nice camera. Let's get to work. And we're like, great, let's show you the ropes and let's get to work. And then some don't have that luxury, so we lend them some of our cameras and teach them along the way. Federal work study kids, different jobs that we have, basically content creation as well, that are, you get to work and get paid to do it from financial aid. So really great to have some students in that category. And we have shadows as well, that come along and will come with us to some of our games, shadow, pick up a camera, or just watch and learn. And then eventually, once we can see that their camera skills are in a good place, then we could say, yeah, like, you're an intern, come work as many games as you can, here's a camera, and let's get to work.
So I kind of asked you that to kind of show the insanity of you taking on 15 sports with such a small team. How do you like take that on? Like, do you segment things up? Like, what do you do? What's your process to take on that much stuff?
Yeah, we wish we had a bigger team, of course. Like, there are just so many schools out there that have such a big team if you're an SEC school. So you're kind of just dealt the cards that you have. Here at VCU, I learned quickly, and you just got to try to balance the sports as much as possible. Basketball obviously being our first priority because it's our moneymaker at VCU, and it's the biggest account that we have. So our 2 basketballs are going to be that like tier 1 of like all of our attention's going to go towards them. And the rest of the sports, for me, I just want to love everybody that I work with well, and all the sports that we work with, I want to love them well. So if that means going to their events as much as possible, I want to do that. Right. Sending at least somebody to cover their events so that we can continue to grow their accounts and to tell their story, because those athletes deserve it. They're all great people, great athletes, great human beings. Right. So it's definitely tough, like you said, to balance all of these sports and to be at a majority of these events. Sometimes they just don't get coverage because it's like, hey, we need to rest. Right. But my first 2 years here, man, I felt like I was at almost every event. So I'm glad that we have students now where we can send them out instead of sending myself or sending Donovan or somebody else.
Students now is slowly growing, you would say.
Yeah, the students are growing. A lot of them are getting just better at camera work in general. And the student body, like, last year, at the beginning of last year, we had like 1 or 2 with us at a game. And then the first games of soccer this year, I had the coaches coming up to me like, you like directing now? Like, you're leading a team of like 9 kids that are here. I'm like, we got an army now. So we're ready to tackle the content challenges that await.
Speaking of going to like events and recording about that, what exactly about live recording, like, how do you handle that specifically?
Yeah, so when it comes to our games, whoever has a camera that is doing either video or photo, we kind of just delegate of, okay, you're going to take photos tonight, you're going to do video tonight. And then for the games themselves, we just try to capture as much as we can and delete anything that we know that we're not going to need. So if we're at a soccer game and a girl or a guy, whichever sport it is, drives towards the goal, they miss, we're going to delete that clip. If they make it, we're going to keep that clip, of course. And we just kind of keep the clips that we know that, like, okay, these are good, we're hopefully going to use these later, and then delete the ones we don't think we're going to use, as well as just try to be on your toes. Depending on the game, you just never know when a steal could happen and someone's going to counter the other way, if you're playing baseball or filming baseball, when someone's going to hit a home run first pitch. So you're really filming like every at bat for baseball. You're filming like every set. Some sports like tennis, it's like you're going to do the same thing next set too, more than likely. But you still want to be wary of like, oh, hey, it's match point or it's set point. Let me try to get this because this could be a really good rally. It's nearly impossible to get everything at all these sports unless you're constantly live recording like some of those cameras do. So we have that to rely on if we do miss anything big. but for the most part, we're just trying to get as much as possible and get the best content possible.
Okay, so moving on to the next subject, family. So I said I did some deep diving. You were married in 2020. What was that like? Did you have like people at your wedding or what?
Yeah. So we got engaged 2019. We were to be married 2020 in June, and then COVID hit January. Not only that, lost my job on December 31st of 2020. Well, I guess that's after.
Right.
But yeah, we ended up getting married June 2020, and it was like a 20-person wedding because of COVID. Then we scheduled the real wedding to be held in August of 2020. That then got pushed back again a whole year to September 2021. And then we had our full celebration wedding, like 100 people and things like that.
So kind of, I don't want to wrap it up too quick, but for the future, what do you hope that people remember about Devin Summer going forward?
Question. The things that I do for VCU, for freelance-wise, like this whole career is my art. It's not the most important thing about me. I think the most important thing about me is my faith. So I want people to remember me as somebody who loved others well, somebody who was a light to this world, was a positive person in this world. So I want people to remember me for that, but I think that also can translate through my videos. So with my work and my art, I just want that to be seen through my work, that this person was a great person that loved others well and was able to showcase like these abilities of these athletes with these really cool videos. But also just that at the end of the day, people can remember me as somebody who, you know, just had an art and a passion for creativity and just a passion for loving others well along the way.
Yeah, one of the first things I noticed about you was the cross tattoo on your hand.
Yeah, a little cross tattoo.
What type of an impact do you think Jesus has on your career?
Oh man, I mean, all things in my life are a blessing through him for sure. So, and just that's how my faith works and how my mindset works each day, is just understanding that everything given to me is a gift through him, and that we're created in such a glorious way. In Genesis, the beginning of the Bible, talking about how just when human was created, it was so good, and when all the birds were created, it was good. So all these things in creation, the creation story, are good, and that's to be celebrated in each and every day life, not to look at things with a negative mindset, but to have a positive mindset. So in my career, having a positive mindset in anything that we do, you know, whether it's job loss, whether it's setbacks, whether it's rewards and raises and things like that, are, you know, all glory to God for every challenge he gives me, every step along the way that he gives me.
Do you have a favorite Bible verse?
Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous for, I'm blanking on it now. Be strong and courageous, for I alone know the plans for you. Along those lines, I probably butchered it, but the main thing is be strong and courageous.
Right, strong.
Yeah.
I would like to ask something a little bit personal about your faith.
Yeah.
Because I like talking about these things. They're interesting.
Yeah.
For you, do you keep your relationship with God a bit more personal, or do you do it with the community? Like, you know, you go to the church on Sundays and whatnot.
Yeah. Definitely have moments where it's just personal, but I want to be in a community as much as possible. On Sundays, we go to Hill City as much as we can with it working in sports. There are many weeks where it's like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm literally out of town. Or
Sundays like football.
Yeah. Sunday's football. We don't have football here at VCU, but working in sports, it is like, hey, we have a soccer game on Sunday, or we have a basketball game on Sunday, or we're working late night Saturday night until 11 or 12 because of a basketball game. So then getting up for church on a Sunday is hard. But blessed with the community we have at Hill City. Love going there on Sundays and love being able to share the faith and just share a room with fellow believers and worship the Lord. on Mondays, I host a soccer group, so that's really fun just to get connected with like-minded people and play a sport that we all know and love. Just super casual, never really keep score, and just try to have as much fun and not hurt each other, as possible. And then Wednesdays, small group with a group of friends, a group of young adults, like all 25 to like 30-ish. So that's really cool. Wife is in a discipleship group on Tuesdays, so try to be in the community as much as possible. And you never want to be like, I don't know, you never want to be like, oh, I'm like the Jesus guy of the office, right? Like, you never want to be looked at in a bad way of that, because then if you mess up, it's like, okay, like, then your faith is like, you're being a hypocrite of that nature. But like I said, in everything that I do, I want to just love all my employees well. I want to love like coworkers well. So I try to do that. Sometimes it's tough, for sure. But bringing the community of church, bringing the community of faith to our office is something we're definitely working on now. Donovan is a really big believer in his faith, and you can just constantly see him praying and just stopping to pray. So he inspires me to be a better Christian, a better person. And then Evan as well comes from a faith background, and I think just having that mindset for us is a good mindset to be. The students who come with us, hopefully we can just love them well like God loves us. So
that's good. This is a perfect segue into the last thing I wanted to do. Earlier you were talking about Young Life Camp. Could you explain what the Wolf Pack is as I show you some pictures that I found?
Wolf Pack. Man, I haven't seen any of these people in forever. The Wolf Pack was a summer staff crew, and our summer staff crew was a lot of fun, a lot of great people in this photo. I hope they're all doing well. They're all amazing people. But yeah, I think that's just was like our motto. I think we either lived in one of the Young Life houses for a month doing summer staff, and that was our nickname. That was our little thing. So yeah, that was a super fun month in my transition to college.
Explain this picture.
Toolbox Pumpkin Smash. Can't remember the year. 2018? No, not 2018. 2016, probably.
Long time ago.
Yeah, basically a Young Life event where everybody brings pumpkins and things to smash them with. And we provide some pumpkins as well. Some things to smash said pumpkins with. And I found a sword. We had a sword in our house, and I was like, I'm definitely slicing open a pumpkin with this.
He has the next picture.
Bodines. I think the Bodines was the name of a team at summer staff. But yeah, that one's the summer staff only being a month. I don't remember too much about it and who the Bodines were. But
all right, well, this is your opportunity to let the people know where they can support you at and where they can find you.
Devin_summer is where you can find me on Instagram. And that's pretty much where I put all my work. On there, you'll find my website. So if you ever want to get in touch with me to worry about or to work and get into any sort of video content, photo content, that's where you're going to find my information. So
all right. Thank you for having us in your beautiful media room as well.
Yeah, I wish it was bigger, but it gets the job done.
All right. Thank you.
For sure.
That's a wrap.
Nice. These ones stopped like
5 seconds.
ago?
Yeah.